Hello, my name is Rachel Biffle. I read The Wright Brothers by David McCullough. This book was published in March of 2015. I actually read it on my iPad, so I don't have like a hard copy of it, but this is what the book looks like. It's about the Wright brothers, as I'm sure you could guess, and it just tells about the journey that they took to be successful in the development of the flying machine. That is the main focus of the book, but it also tells about their family life and just who they were as individuals and all the trouble and problems that they faced in the creation of the flying machine. I enjoyed this book. I wouldn't say I really liked it. I don't think I would pick up a similar book and read it just for fun, because this was had a lot of mathematical based, history based content in it that honestly just kind of went over my head, because not as brilliant as the Wright brothers, never will be, never have been, but it is really good. I liked reading about who they were as individuals. That's what I enjoyed the most, was reading about their family life and how they were so close to their family, because I think growing up I always thought of them as being like one unit. You think of the Wright brothers and they created the flying machine and then you just kind of move on. But it was interesting to read about them as Wilbur and Orville Wright instead of just the Wright brothers. They were really close with their sister, Catherine. I think this was due to the fact that they had twin siblings who died as infants. They also lost their mother whenever they were still pretty young. And they had two older siblings that were already out of the house by the time they were still pretty small. So I think that all of that combined just kind of made them appreciate each other more. They were also really close with their father. He set them up for success from the beginning, because he had a library in the house. He was very educated himself, always reading a book, and the boys just kind of mimicked that behavior, and they were very educated as well, as we know. But the main thing that I enjoyed about the book was reading the letters between the brothers and their father and Catherine, specifically the ones between the brothers and Catherine, because she was kind of their motivator, and whenever they felt like giving it up, they would write her and she would motivate them and keep them determined and tell them they have no choice but to keep going because they're going to be successful, and she knew that they would be. So I think without her, they wouldn't have been as successful. I think they would have given up sooner, because one thing that you also don't learn about as much in elementary whenever you learn about the Wright brothers is that they faced a lot of problems. I remember one specific part of the book that they were in Kitty Hawk, North Carolina, testing their developments, and the mosquitoes were so bad that they were wrapped up in their sleeping bags just to keep from getting bit, but then they would get so hot that they would just about suffocate. So they had to cut that trip short because of the mosquitoes. So just stuff like that. And they weren't famous from the beginning, so they had to have a way to make money. So they had a bike shop and they had a printing press where they printed newspapers. So it was just interesting, like I said, to read about them as individuals and their life, like apart from their success in the field of aviation, even though that was the main focus of the book. I did like it, but I would only recommend it if you enjoy reading about history and math. There's a lot of math in the book, which I like math, but I'm not Wright brother math brilliant, because a lot of this went over my head. But for my lesson plan, I decided to focus on the fact that they had a printing press where they printed newspapers. So I gave students the assignment of writing a newspaper article as if they were living in the time of the Wright brothers, and they had just successfully created this flying machine, and so they would need to kind of summarize the content that we learned and write it as if they were writing a newspaper article. And I differentiated this by allowing students to also have the option of recording themselves as it being a news segment. Even though we didn't have TVs and news back then, this is kind of a way to just relate it to our times and help students that would rather recite a summary instead of writing a paragraph about it or more. So they could choose to either write the newspaper article or record themselves reporting the news. So, and they get cooperative work because if they do the newspaper article, they edit each other's, their editors, and then with the news segment, they work together and report the news together. So that's my book report and my book review. Thank you.